On Tuesday, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors voted in favor of a new reentry hiring program.
It will provide 1,400 county jobs for people recently released from prison or jail. The program will be implemented starting in January.
And right now we are joined by Darris, the local organizer with the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights, and Sholonda Jasper-Jackson, a leader with Oakland Community Organizations. Welcome to you both. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Sholonda, I was just talking to someone yesterday about prisons across the country, and she described it as hell in a can. Briefly, can you describe your experience in prison? The same with you, Darris, but I'll start with you, Sholonda.
Absolutely. I started going to prison at 18. I had never been in trouble before. I'm a recovering addict, and I started experimenting with drugs. And my first time going to jail, I got caught in the dope house, and everybody that was there got sentenced for possession. And from 18 to 28, it was just a vicious cycle, back and forth, round and round. I've been to every prison in California for women. I've been to prison 13 times, and, no help in sight, without understanding that I was an addict and I had a problem.
And Darris, one thing to be in it, but what's it like getting out of prison after 17 years? Was there fear? Was there excitement?
Well, there was both excitement but more fear, because I went into prison as I'm a 33-year-old man, and I was getting out at 50. So it was always on the back of my mind that, the most productive years of my life were already behind me. So what was I going to do when I got out? And that was always my thought. Like Sholonda, I was a recovering substance abuser, and I knew that, having experienced 17 years of sobriety while I was incarcerated, I wanted to actually be able to give my experiences back. So I wanted to do substance abuse counseling and also other types of counseling, domestic violence and youth and intervention counseling.
Darris, since you, both of you, but I'll ask you first, since you've been to prison, do you have more credibility with some of the people that you speak to? Because they look at you and they say, look, I know what it's like inside. You don't want to be in there. Or even if you've come out, I can help you because I know what I'm doing.
Help you get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think that lived experiences, as you're talking to other people who are going through the same things that you've already been through, it tends to resonate a little bit more, because when someone is talking to someone from their own point of view, then they look at that person and they could relate. And I do think that several studies also show the benefits of peer-to-peer mentorship and lived experiences. Those things work better than someone else who's actually not talking from that same, and it's a trust issue too. So those things all make a difference, yes.
Can we talk about some of the difficulties you had, Sholonda, in re-entering society, if you will, in those brief times you had outside of the prison or jail walls? Why was it difficult for you to get clean, get a job, find a support system? And is that what caused you to keep going back in?
Absolutely. So when you get out of prison, they give you $200 and they say, see you next time. And you get out, you burn some bridges because, you were on drugs. And if your family members were on subsidized housing, you're not allowed there because there's no felons in subsidized housing. Nobody wants to hire you if you are looking for a job. And so what do you do with $200 and nowhere to go? You go back to what you knew.
So how do you get hired? I mean, what's this new program going to do for people who are exiting prison and jail, you think, Darris? I mean, specifically, if you can give a couple examples.
Well, the first example that I can give is that it gives an individual, he or she, a meaningful chance of real employment. And I think that's significant, because even in Alameda County, while we've invested in workforce training and job trainings, those things have not led to sustainable employment for individuals that are coming home.
What do you mean by real employment? Like, what's real employment?
Real employment is a sustainable wage job with benefits. Those things that actually a person needs to actually live in the Bay Area. Now, keep in mind, people are being released from prison and jail, like, in a time now to a very, very changing environment. So, like, Alameda County, in terms of what it takes to actually live in Alameda County and to be productive, and people who want to actually reintegrate with their families, it takes a job with benefits, and it takes a real income in order to make that happen. So I do think with this job piece that we're doing now, it's so much different. It's significant in the fact that we are going to, the county is taking the lead. And as being the 14th largest employer in this county, which is Alameda County, why shouldn't they take the lead and set the example for private sector to say, you know what, let's invest in men and women that are coming out of incarceration. Let's pay them a livable wage with benefits, and we know that these things work in keeping our society
1,400 men and women.
So, 14 men and women.
Real quick, because we have to go, but have you seen a lot of success stories because of this program?
It hasn't started yet, but I do believe you are going to see more success stories, because even myself and Sholonda, we're success stories, because I came out and I didn't have a prospect of a job, but Ella Baker Center, they took a chance on me. They paid me a livable wage with benefits, and here I am. I've been out of prison 4 years now. So that just shows you what a job can do for an individual. It helps he or her, it gives them significance. And I think that's what people need in this society. They need to be significant and being able to give back to society, and jobs and housing. It does that for a person.
Well, Darris and Sholonda, thank you for joining us this morning. We'll check back in once it goes into effect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Coming up on Morning Sun.